truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up on the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's dude. Come on, man. Can you feel the pain? Into him now, about the new world. Ain't no drag. Papa's got a brand new eye.
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Weaver. I am on the Don't Unfriend Me show, otherwise known as The Dumb Show, with host Matt Spear. You guys can find the show at The Dumb Show on social media or thedumbshow.com.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Matthew Spear and Leeroy in the house tonight. I've got a couple things going on. Trying to balance everything. RSBN just dropped their broadcast that Olivia and I did, so we're going to show that. May 27th, Ryan Samuels will be in the house. Damani Felder on June 5th, our resident staple, live from the Apollo. Ryan Weaver will be here. Dave Bondi will be here. Gary Brugman, who is Coast Guard and Border Patrol agent who was pardoned by President Trump. That's going to be huge. And then Tim Brown in Tower 2, when it collapsed, is going to be joining the show, and a whole bunch of other great. I mean, man, we've got Ty the Fish coming on the back end. He's going to be here. We've got a whole bunch of great guests. And so it's been one hell of a month, folks. $300 on the board tonight. We're going to be doing, in 30 seconds, we'll be live here, and $300 is what we're looking for. We're funded by y'all, so if you have a chance, help us out. Also, kind of cool, the America 250 celebration shirts are in. We're going to go ahead and just bounce this out here so we can see it. Oh, shit, Leeroy. I'm sorry. I got to fix your camera. I'll do that in a second.
Green.
I know. Do that in a second. So it's over there. So the Freedom shirts, and now in V-neck, also hoodie, long sleeve, and then on the back is the 250 celebration, which is a really cool design by yours truly. So they are available. They're selling like hotcakes. If you have a chance, go on over there and pick yourself up one. And looks like I got a little bit of lint on the old chesty. All right. So, Leeroy, first of all, it's good to have you here, folks. $300 up on the board if you want to call in, 276-200-2105. What's going on with you, brother? How are things? It's been a while.
It's been a little bit. We ended up having to scrap most of last week, but, we're going to make up for it with tonight, right?
Yeah.
It's been a little bit crazy with the weather and with a lot of the news. We're watching the news, and every day, there just seems there's more and more hitting the headlines that just makes me wonder how things are going to roll this November.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? So I've been thinking quite a bit about it, and using the old nose to the grindstone and brain stem to the wind here. And
What'd you come up with?
I'm thinking the midterms are going to look pretty good. If two things can happen, one is we've got to remove the words affordability from Democrats' mouths. So we need to lower the interest rate 1 to 2 more half points. A full half point would be nice, 2 quarter points. And then I'd like to see gas prices get down to around that 250, 275 mark nationally, which will be tough. But if we can get ahead of this and get this deal signed, and then gas prices, obviously are going to start flowing again. I think it helps that the United States has been exporting a shit ton of oil, but that's really what it's going to be. The numbers look good for the Senate right now. Honestly, the numbers actually look really good. But if gas prices don't come down, but here's the thing, they always go up in summer, not this high, but they always go up to summer. So I would like to see those talking points by the Republicans to be like, listen, you guys feel this usually during the summer. That feels familiar to people. It's going to be like, well, it's not this high, but then it makes Iran a little bit more palatable. But yeah, if we can get this deal signed and get the hell out of Dodge, that is going to help prices tremendously. So that's what I'm thinking.
I think you hit it right on the head. I think that most Americans are going to be looking at these upcoming midterms and voting with their pocketbook mostly, which is to say that if the economy doesn't improve in some way, right, whatever the intent was with Iran, and I happen to know a little something about that, but whatever the intent was, the idea behind it is that great, we can be able to prevent them from acquiring a nuclear weapon, but the problem is the financials back and forth up into that point of absolute, pounding them into the ground submission. Anything short of that, and we're going to end up looking. So this was a gamble. This was a big gamble.
Huge gamble by Trump, but one that needed to be done and one that he knew he couldn't do if he lost the House. And so it's a damned you do, damned if you don't. Do you sit there and hold on to the House and then somehow, Iran decides to go ahead and move the fission material? Listen, we know chemical weapons were in Iraq. We know this because we take a look at the weapons from Syria. Yes, some were supplied by Russians, but al-Assad gassed his own people, and a lot of the connectioners that they came from Iraq and were moved into Syria. This would be a fairly, from a geographical standpoint and also the terrorist roadways, this makes sense. And you didn't hear that on the open community because that would be another intelligence failure by the United States government. So you're not going to hear about that. But God forbid that they move some of that fission material and then it gets its hand on the black market. And it's just no good. So the point is, let's get this thing done. Let's get it solved. We've done what we wanted to do, which was neuter their military, and really stop them from being an extension by asymmetric warfare into 6 different countries with their proxy groups because they can't fund them anymore. So these proxy groups are headless right now, and the last thing we want is for them to rear back up and come back into power. So anyway, moving on. Listen, God provides, and I was late tonight. We were early. I mean, we're 5 minutes early, but got a phone call, and it's always around Memorial Day that I talk to a vet, and it's been 3 vets, and then a listener today where I've had to stop and stop what I'm doing, pop smoke, and have a conversation. It's just that time of the year. It's a tough time, and so I'm like, listen, I could only find about an hour of content that I only had like 20 minutes of research. And I'm like, what am I going to do for an hour? Well, I guess we can move to the election. And then I get a text from Matt Alvarez from RSBN. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, we dropped your interview with your wife that you guys did on Monday. And I'm like, oh yeah. What? Okay. Yeah. So he's like, it's up and it's ready to watch. And I'm like, oh, well, this will be a perfect time to do it. So we were on RSBN, and their radio show and their podcast, and they've got 2.7 million subscribers. It is probably the 4th biggest conservative channel between cable and streaming. So we were pretty excited about that. And Olivia did her first interview and figured we would show it to you real quick. It's only about, I don't know, yay long. And I figured it would create good conversation into the content we do have. Are you cool with that, Leeroy?
Hell yeah.
Hells to the yes. If you would have said no, I'd have been like, oh, well.
Oh, well.
Well, forget it.
Screw you, because we're going to watch it anyway.
I was excited. Let's get you over here.
Hey, look at that. I'm not there anymore.
Yeah, you won't be for a second. Because I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't know we were going to be watching this together.
Preparing for my alternate career as the Invisible Man.
Yeah, I really like Matt Alvarez. He is a good dude. We get along.
That was our. Would you do this?
We get along
segment
pretty well.
Yeah,
and he's a cool cat, and he's in another state. Can't tell you which state, but he's in another state. And at the end of this, he's like, "We got to get together and get on your show." He's like, I feel like we could talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, that's what we do for a living. So we would love you out here." He's like, "Well, I got to get out to that studio." And I'm like, and he's like, "But I don't do these because of rights and, contracts." And he's like, "But sounds like he wants to make an exception." So I'm like, "Dude, I'll fly out here. Get your butt out here." And he's an amazing human being. He's just so cool. Anyway, here's Olivia and I. Olivia was nervous as a whore in church. She was like, "Oh my God, how did I do?" I'm like, "You did wonderfully." So you guys tell us. Here it is.
Anyway, that was fun. Also, along the same lines, right? We've got some great people out there that I just interviewed just yesterday, and there's a really dumb show out there. I mean, it's really dumb. No, really. The Don't Unfriend Me podcast is growing in popularity, and I caught up with the show's host, Matthew and Olivia Spear. Let's check it out.
Dude, what a plug.
It takes 90 seconds.
Yeah, I'll
for
take
this
a commercial for that. No, I'll take a commercial. I'm fine.
AC cool
I'm
down
fine
your
with that.
room.
I gotta watch this. I need to know how to cool down my area.
Yeah, this is how you do it. Yeah, by creating. Let me. Conductive energy. Thermodynamics says that this isn't accurate. You have to expel the heat to cool. In order to create cool, folks, you have to create heat. How are you going to exhaust that? Because it's a scam. Don't buy this thing. It's impossible. You can't do it. Laws of thermodynamics say that this is 100% impossible.
All you can do is move heat from one area to another. That's it.
That's right. That's right. You can only dispense energy in a confined place. You would have to excavate that energy so it does not necessarily come back. Here's the rest of this. That was a great intro.
Create a groundbreaking.
That was exciting.
And joining us now are the hosts of the Don't Unfriend Me show, Matthew and Olivia Spear. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys.
Thanks for having
Matt.
us.
We appreciate
the
it.
same shirt and everything.
Definitely. Let's talk about today. I mean, this is what I like. I love that we are super patriotic people, but it's not just for patriotic just because we want to be. It's because we love the country so much. So can we just talk about that off the top?
Yeah, it's something that we talk a lot about. 250 years. This is one of the most pivotal times in any country's history. And you look at Greece, you look at Rome, you look at other republics, or even certain that flirted with theocracy or oligarchs or monarchies. It doesn't matter. That 300-year mark is huge. So where are we going to be in the next 50 years is my focus. We're seeing a lot of our freedoms challenged. We're having people embrace the word democracy, but not recognizing that we're a republic and a nation of laws and individualism. So I think the next 50 years is really going to be the litmus test to where we are in the United States. And I think it starts with education and families, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about that. I know Olivia had a comment on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, 250 years. It's pretty cool that we're so young, but yet we're with a country we're so advanced, I guess.
Yeah.
And as far as patriotic, I mean, we're a very patriotic family. Our daughter's favorite holiday is July 4th.
Yeah.
And they stand for the pledge. They stand for the national anthem, and we've raised our kids to be proud to be American and to show others that what it's like to be an American.
Yeah. And the schools aren't helping, right? Yeah. The schools are not helping. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's a whole nother topic we can get into, of course, with the woke ideology, the woke mind viruses that are out there with the schools. But outside of that, back to your guys' point about, the next 50 years. I mean, of course, that's 50 years from now, but what can we do in the short term to at least get it kick-started, right? So how about passing the Save America Act? I wanted to get both of your thoughts on that simple act that should become law.
Right. Well, the difference between a participant and a citizen is our participation in voting and getting out there and having our voices heard. And really, it's all that we have. We hear constantly about term limits, right? And the founding fathers gave us a term limit where we could go ahead and vote. And whether that's a 2-year, 4-year, or 6-year mark, we have the ability to make the change that we need necessary in this country. But we have to make sure it's legal, it's fair, and the people who are actually citizens are voting. So I think the opposition on the SAVE Act, I want to see Republicans stand up. I want to see them unify. We talk about Democrats all the time, how they stand shoulder to shoulder, even if their ideas are garbage. This isn't garbage. This is a great idea. It's what Americans want. It has
has a massive approval rate among all demographics. 83% of Americans want voter ID. So it's right there. We just have to have the courage to stand up and take it. And even though it might be hard, sometimes those are the most rewarding things.
And Olivia, isn't this just common sense, really?
It really is. I mean, you have to be a citizen to vote. You should have to prove that you're a citizen to vote. And I think we're taking the right step as a party and starting to switch party lines, but we're doing it legally,
right,
as opposed to gerrymandering and doing it because we want more votes and
doing it by race.
Exactly. Doing it by race. So I think we're taking a good step, but I think it needs to be passed so everything works in the future as far as, voting and stuff like that.
Right. And then, Matt, also the census is an important thing. And you hear a lot of Democrats say, well, this is an out of cycle, gerrymander or redistricting. But the point is that when you had a biased Supreme Court that decided that you could not ask when you were having a conversation when it came to the census with an American door to door and say, you can't say, are you an American? Are you a citizen of this country? And I understand the right to privacy, but if somebody breaks the law, we change the right to privacy laws in this country because you have broken our laws. And it really frustrates me that we are not allowed to ask that question. So we're having to take steps. You take a look at California and their seat gains. You take a look at New York. You take a look at Maryland. There's mass illegal immigration in this country, which has changed the representation of the House. And it's about time that we start doing it. And I wish every single state, and if any senator, any state legislature, gubernatorial candidate, mayoral race, whatever it is, you're listening to this right now, and you should be, is you need to do what's right, not necessarily what's popular. And just because we talk about defending our country, defending our elections, ensuring we have free, safe elections, doesn't mean that that's MAGA, doesn't mean that that's Trump. It's just common sense. So I'm in a complete agreement with you, Matt. Exactly. So let's shift over to your military service, Matthew. Could we talk about that? And then Olivia, I want to hear your reaction to, being married to somebody that was in the military. What was that like for you as well? So Matthew, go ahead. Yeah. So, the big thing, my service, I will say what I always say to pretty much everybody. Some did a lot more than I did and some did less. But there's every single position in the military is designed for either combat or support. And it takes 3 support personnel to support 1 combat personnel in the military. And I think it's important that we remember what this day is for.
My local mayor wanted to sue me after he saw what I did with this new pressure washer. There's a new power wash nozzle out there, and it's the most brutal cleaning tool you'll ever.
Getting some money for commercials, I'm fine with that. That's no problem with me. Here's the rest of the segment.
I think the best way that I can put it is yesterday I was at our local breakfast place. And there was a gentleman with a Vietnam hat. And I went to his table and I shook his hand and I just said, welcome home. And he immediately knew what it meant. He said, thank you. But there was people around the table and the conversation started to move towards me again when I sat back down. And people asked, welcome home. I don't understand. He's been home for decades. And my response was, he may, but he was never welcomed home. And today, military veterans, up until recently, were embraced and cared for and tie the yellow ribbon around the tree. But a lot of our veterans in that time period were forgotten. And the reason I bring that up is because when we look at this Memorial Day, a lot of people say, well, don't thank me for my service on this day. I didn't die. This is for the heroes. That's true. And every veteran knows that. And every veteran understands that sometimes civilians, they just want to thank a vet. And the proper response is, you're worth it. You're welcome. This is how we build relationships. This is how we tie people into the community. So if a civilian makes a mistake and says, thank you for your service today, we don't need to lecture them about what Memorial Day is. You can thank them and then have a conversation and identify what's important to you about this day. But I think sometimes we forget that thanking a vet is a commodity that should happen every single day, every minute of the day. We should embrace veterans and not just take 1 or 2 days out of the year. It should be relegated to the entire year. So if somebody comes up and says, thank you for your service today, a proper response is thank you or you're worth it. So that's what I take away from today, along with remembering our family members and friends who I've lost, to these conflicts. And Livia, I know you have a big take on this too.
Yeah, well, he was physically out of the military before we got together. So I never had to go through the whole military wife, moving the family around, having to deal with the deployments. But I have supported him on the tail end of him being post-military service, with him dealing with the aftermath and friends, and watching him also be a huge part of the veteran community. And that's one of the reasons we moved out here, is he wanted to become more of a part of it. And it makes me very proud to be his wife and to see what he does and the help he gives to other veterans. I've watched him have conversations and just take hours when a veteran is struggling with personal issues or mental issues. And he just takes the time and he will stop everything to help that veteran. And it makes me proud. And I have two grandparents, my grandfathers. One was in World War II, one was in Korea. And I never really understood what their military service meant when I was younger. I never took the time to talk to them about it. And now that I'm older, they've both passed. I really wish I would have taken the time to sit down and really gotten to know who they are and what they did for our country. And it does make me proud to be a granddaughter of two veterans and a wife.
And we've got his flag, and which is emblazoned in the back of our set to represent, any of our fallen veterans. It's something that we care about, and we built our set to remember veterans and remember their history. And it correlates to what we're talking about today. I just wanted to make a quick comment on, we lose 22 veterans a day. And we can talk about the veterans of the past who we've lost, but we also need to talk about the veterans of the future, the ones who have not served yet and the ones who are about to come home. We have to make them a focus. Mental health is the most important thing that we can do. Post-traumatic stress is real, it's curable, and it starts with conversation and dialogue. And the last point I wanted to make is, if you take a look at the three things that you said helps our country in the next 50 years, it's going to be God, family, and service. And I think if we can wrap our heads around God, we're working towards that. We're seeing this revitalization after Charlie passed, and people are trying to smear and mark his sacrifice. But honestly, it was God's work. It had to be, because look at the revival that's taking place in this country. Look at Bible sales. Look at this generation who are embracing God again. And this is what God does: is He uses us, and He speaks through us, and He acts through us. And it's an important thing to remember. The family part it's going to require all the work that we have, but service is where it starts, because you learn camaraderie, you learn discipline, you learn respect for your country. And if you look at the down scale of our people in the military, and now it's on the rise, I believe those other two things will be synonymous with people's service. We need more people to serve, because it creates amazing, ardent patriots, and it's so important to our country. So it's good to see so many things going on the uptick.
This pod will clean your retainer at the touch of a button.
No wonder why there's so many commercials. Almost done, folks. Appreciate you being patient, Leeroy. There'll be a lot to talk about after this.
Oh, yeah.
I could take another 45 minutes with you guys and just chat about the country, chat about a number of topics. We only have a couple minutes. So what I'd like to do here, just in closing, is maybe a minute each on the following, a very just basic question, just to get to know you guys some more. So Olivia, we'll start with you. Just what was it for the conservative side of things, or your faith, or that got you into what you're doing today? Co-hosting alongside Matthew, but also, how did you become that patriot? I know you were born into the country, but just what was it that is driving you to say what you say and do what you do?
Go for it.
Well, I helped Matt start the podcast, but I technically really wasn't on the podcast for about 3 years. It took him a long time to convince me to
kicking and screaming.
Come, I didn't want to. I did not want to be in front of the camera. I didn't want to. I'm honestly very shy, and I don't like speaking in public. So it took a long time to get me here. But he finally got me here, and I've become very outspoken with my beliefs and my faith, and where I think this country should be. And I think I'm doing it mainly for my children, because I want the country to be in a better place than it is right now for my kids when they grow up, and when they have kids and they have kids. I don't want them going through struggles and having to deal with what they're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
I was just going to think, Matthew, I was just going to say,
please.
The mama bear aspect is what it sounds like. Yes. Is one of the main reasons why you're like, you know what, it's worth it for my kids. Yes, you and Matthew, the guys love freedom, but for your kids, you're going to do anything for them. So to your point, Matthew, I mean, it's awesome to see a combination husband-wife that's out there doing what you guys are doing for the country.
Yeah, it's, it's when I first started this, it was in defense of my wife. She voted for Trump, and lifelong friends, godparents of our children, just excommunicated us from their lives and said, we can't be friends with people who supported Trump. And this was a 12-year relationship. This was my mentor. I helped his daughter learn how to drive a car. I picked up his son in a situation that he didn't want to call parents in. So it was very strange to do that. So I went on Facebook and I just said, my piece, 30 minutes, I just let it out. It was during COVID and I was frustrated, and it got a lot of views. And we said, you know what? We've got a good job, good career. Let's go ahead and do a podcast. Let's start it. We feel like we're in a spot. And we did. And Olivia doesn't give herself enough credit. What she has created for this show is bringing patriots on, like Chris Peranto, Barry Morgenstein. We had Scott Lebedo on last week, and 76 Coke commercial. I saw it pass around X the other day, and I said, I don't recognize that. That doesn't look like every city in America. Fortunately, we live in a place that is that way. Flags unfurled and people still going around on horses, and that's a good thing. But I think we forget who we were. And when we forget the past, we're doomed to repeat it. I hope we can get back to a spot where we remember who we were. And I would be okay with us repeating where we once were as a country.
That's exactly what resonates with we the people. We're all on the same side of history here, the right side of history, whether it's a show, a podcast, or a citizen journalist. I think people should get more, just supportive of conservative media sides of things instead of obviously the mainstream media we've been dealing with for decades. So nice looking set there too. I might have to show up to that set and just get an interview someday. I'm just going to.
You're invited. We want you to sign the door. The door has been signed by many, and we would love to have you out here, Matt, anytime.
The invitation's open anytime.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, good luck with the newborn.
Yes, good luck.
Thank you so
Get
much.
some sleep.
Thanks, guys. Matthew and Olivia Spear, the host of the Don't Unfriend Me show. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right. So there you go. Obviously, the podcast space is huge out there. We have a podcast studio here. You see.
Oh, yeah. That was fun. Sorry to take up, a good half hour. I wasn't expecting
No, this was really great. This was one of those, breakout moments that we don't get enough of. To see the show get some level of recognition. And as more and more, networks start realizing the value of podcasts, and especially for the voices that come from the right that bear some weight and might carry some momentum going into future elections. I think interviews like that are invaluable.
Yeah, it's I used to get nervous. The most nervous I was ever was with Scott Lebedo. But that's just because of the deference I have towards the man, and I know that he's got a boiler room that's always ready to go. And I was like, God, I just don't want to piss him off. Like, I don't want to say something stupid. So, and we got along really well, and to the point where he called me a jackass, which is perfect because if a guy from the Jers in New York and Brooklyn and Boston type calls you a jackass, you're in a good spot. So, but no, it makes me a little bit morose and reflective, because I'm like, I just can't wait for you to retire. Like, that was a literal on the phone, Matt, you ready to go? We're going to have you on. And I'm like, holy shit, but when you're out, I can just be like, I just want that. I want that next phase where, yourself and Amy can be more involved in this type of stuff, because I think there's so many stories that y'all have. And you guys are like gatekeepers to the show. You know what I mean? You guys are plank owners. So I want that. I want that camaraderie to go to the next level. And I know we're getting close, dude. I know we're getting close.
Yeah.
But we
my retirement from the Navy is supposed to be slated for April of next year, but I don't think there's any way I can make that. And if you know the way the Navy works, they have like fiscal years, and then they have like good point years or good retirement years. There's no way I can make next year a good retirement year. So really this year needs to be it. And technically speaking, the end of this year it sounds weird, but it's just Navy calendar, right? The end of this year starts in October. So I'm not that far out.
Yeah, there's Apple is the same way. Their quarter one is in quarter four for most other companies. So they annualize that way, same way as the military. So anyway, I hope you guys liked it. We'll clip that. I think that intro was great. There's a dumb show. No, I'm not kidding. There's a dumb show. That's good. We'll clip that. Anyway. That. Yeah, it was fun. He's a good interview. He's a good guy. He lets us go. He's openly said, anytime you and I want to come on, we just tell him and what the topic is, and he'll give us 25 minutes just to go. So we have that relationship now with him. And he's said it multiple times now. Like, if you have something that's important to you, send me a text and I'll get you airtime. So nice. we should take advantage of that, especially if things start cooking off again. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. So good. Now, I don't want to do this again, but I do have a 2-minute, and it's my video today, and it does talk about Memorial Day, and I really want to get Leeroy's take on this. This was something, it is the news, and this is going viral, and it needs to be talked about. So I'm not going to go into all the details. I'll just let you know that there was a military service Gold Star wife who had asked on X for if anyone could go to Arlington and plot 60, and her husband's name is Shaw, Staff Sergeant Shaw, and go there and take a picture of, his resting place. One is to ensure that it's properly being taken care of and it looks fantastic, but also to, if anyone had coined the grave or dropped off flags or flowers, which is a common occurrence. I mean, the headstones, I've went over what all the coins mean and everything else. And she wanted to take a picture to memorialize because she couldn't be there this year. And this is what happened. This is a great story. Enjoy this. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about it. I'm assuming quite a bit. Here it is.
In a world full of negativity and division, stories like this are pure magic. It's a beautiful reminder of the good still left in America. On Memorial Day, Gold Star wife Cheryl Ann posted a simple request on X. She asked if anyone visiting Arlington Cemetery, if they would just take a fresh photo of her husband's grave. Section 60, Staff Sergeant Alan W. Shaw. She couldn't make the trip herself. What happened next was an incredible wave of love and patriotism. Independent journalist Nick Sorter went there in the rain, placed fresh roses and American flags on the grave, and sent her this beautiful photo. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, who just resigned from her position so she could stay with her husband, who was recently diagnosed with bone cancer, still made the personal trip to honor Staff Sergeant Shaw. Families and patriots from all over showed up too, leaving flowers, flags, and heartfelt tributes. Cheryl was moved to tears, of course. She told Tulsi it meant even more coming from someone who truly understood the weight of sacrifice. When asked what Alan was like, she replied with a heartfelt message. He was the funniest person I've ever met in my life, or who I've known. Loud in the best way. His presence filled a room. He loved hard and fought harder. He was my best friend, and I'll forever be thankful that out of everybody in this world, he chose us. Cheryl's post has now reached over 5 million views in a time that often feels hopelessly divided. Ordinary Americans stepped up with love and respect, showing there is still so much gratitude and patriotism in this wonderful country of ours. Stories like this cut through all the noise. They remind us why we must keep fighting for America, just as Staff Sergeant Alan W. Shaw did. God bless Cheryl Ann, every Gold Star family, and every hero resting at Arlington. We will never forget.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's a good story, man. I just want to get your thoughts. I know you've got brothers and sisters you served with. I know you've lost friends, and I think whether you serve for a few years or whether you serve for a lifetime, it's a part of the job. But I want to give you a second to kind of reflect and turn it over to you, brother.
It makes you wonder about how much Americans truly remember. That's the whole idea of the holiday, is to remember those who have fallen. When I get told, hey, thank you for your service, to your point, I don't correct them either. I just thank you. But this is about remembering those who have fallen. And I'll tell you a quick story. It was a couple of years ago, and Matt remembers this because I had to take a quick leave of absence from the show when I was going through Chief season. One of the things that they have you do, right, is it's like some of the last things that you would ever do in your E6 uniform, the navy white uniform. So it's got the flap on the back, and you get your Dixie cup and that kind of thing. It's one of the last times you'd ever wear the uniform. So what they do during your season, and there's a few very somber moments, is to go to a local cemetery and you honored someone. And during my season, that happened to have been, and he's local to where I'm at here in Ohio. It was a Navy corpsman named Maxton Soviak. He was 22 years old, and he died when we withdrew from Afghanistan. He was one of the 13 that was killed. And so moments like that, they kind of take your breath away. And when you march out there in formation and you see a crowd of people that you have attracted, and you're out there with a gun, and you do the honors, and it's very it's genuine and it's saddening. And the whole point is to remember those who have fallen. And in the case of Max and Soviak, we did our best, and but there are 12 others, and so you just hope that there were similar ceremonies going on for everyone. And then when you extend all of that out and you think of it like the Kevin Bacon, the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, you see moments like that where Tulsi Gabbard and Pete Hegseth went to this person's grave. That is exactly what you would want to happen.
Yeah.
So just
it's powerful, man. I mean,
yeah,
I saw it and I was like, well, this is a story that has to be told, and nobody's telling it, of course, because they want to talk about Jews and Iran and gas prices, but it's like
fascist.
Yeah, right. This story it deserves to be told, and it should be told every day. I think we should recognize a veteran every single day, nationally. But it is what it is. I mean, that's a whole nother show altogether. But folks, we appreciate you guys tonight. Red Friday hat. Remember, everyone deployed. It's available. We don't talk about this enough, but we give 10% of our proceeds to Travis Manion Foundation every single year. We cut them a nice big fat check and throw it to the Travis Manion Foundation. We've been doing that for 5.5 years. Yeah. And I would tell you the number, but I'm not going to tell you the number. I'm just going to tell you that they owe us a Christmas card each year. And it's okay. We love doing it. So if you go over to thedumbshow.com, you can pick up the hat, pick up the shirt, whatever you want. Go take a look and do it. I feel like I'm Candace. I'm actually pitching after a sad story. So we've got the Texas election results coming at 8:00, and we'll mix them in. Plus the Colorado Avalanche are playing a desperation game 4 that I really want the Avs to pull it out, because they have been playing a lot better than they've been getting the results for. But let's just face it, Vegas has just been what the Avs were in 2022, and I didn't think anyone could beat the Avs in 7-game series. We're about to be proven wrong. So I give all the accolades to the Knights, but I think this game's ours tonight. We're going to see. Cussing in public and how you act. Last night we had a couple slides on talking about how you represent yourself, how you carry yourself, and what your demeanor is. The old adage, act as if. Act as if you're the CEO. Drive a car like you're the CEO.
Boiler room. Yeah.
Boiler room, right? Yeah. Well, it's also from a concept from 1 Minute Manager as well. But yeah, boiler room absolutely is like how the A, B, C, O, A always B, B, C closing and act as if are two of the biggest motivational retail speeches outside of Wolf of Wall Street, which also has a pretty good one too. But my point, I digress. This gentleman really rips the Band-Aid off, and he's in an African-American community, and he's saying this is what you can't do. And he's talking to boys, and he's setting an example. And I thought it was an extremely interesting video that we can talk about when we get back. Here it is.
Mature people don't cuss in public. They may cuss with their friends, they may cuss in their home, but in public, they don't go in the mall and say, hey, what the F up? You know what I'm talking about? You don't go in the bank and say, hey, where the MF out with that loan? I'm trying to get the MF loan for this month. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't do that. People will look at you like, what is wrong with them? Number one, why are they screaming? Number two, why are they using that language? They must not be mature. Raise your hand if you have a granny. You're all lucky if you still have your granny. I miss my granny. You have a problem with someone disrespecting your grandmother. But every school I go into, there are students who disrespect teachers. Some of those teachers are somebody's grandmother. So you don't want anyone to disrespect your grandmother, but you're okay with disrespecting someone else's grandmother? I think we should treat every adult on our campus like they're someone's grandmother. I think every custodian, every front office worker, every teacher's aide, every teacher, every coach, every administrator, every bus driver, every lunchroom worker should be treated the same way we want someone to treat our grandmother.
Thank you, Don. $10. Get
Don.
the show started. Happy Tuesday. Yes, thank you so much, Don.
When you don't treat people with respect, we just know you're still in this stage. You got some growing up to do. And we're going to try to work with you. Like a little baby. We won't get mad at a baby for spitting up. We say, why you spitting? Come on, bro. You 8 months old. You want to spit on me? We wouldn't say that. We'll say, oh, it's almost cute. Oh, we'll wipe it up. But if someone was 15 and threw up on my shoulder, now we got problems. Right? Some of us, we're spitting up with our language. We're not spitting up with vomit. We're spitting up with our language. We're spitting up with the N-word. We're spitting up with profanity. We're like a little child. But I've learned to bear with you, because hopefully you grow out of it by the time you get here. Could you imagine going into an interview? Could you imagine? Let me shake your hand, man. How you doing? What's your name? Zion. Good to meet you. Squeeze my hand, Zion. I have that heart, bro. Relax. All right, no, bro. I'm on steroids. All right. So imagine going into an interview and you shake somebody's hand and say, hey, what the F up with that job, folks? You know what I'm saying? A ninja trying to work, dog. A ninja trying to work. You're not going to get the job.
Right.
You're not. That's not how you talk to get a job. If you're an athlete, you want to get a scholarship. You go to University of Arkansas. All right? You play basketball, you run track, whatever and you go in there and you say, hey, this place, this effort, man, man, I love, and look at this place, man. Like, they're not going to say, wow, we love the way she talks. We're going to give her a scholarship. Man, she has great language. You post on your, man, them ninjas at the University of Arkansas, fire is F. They're not going to repost that and say, go Hogs. They're going to say, this is embarrassing. They haven't grown up yet.
Interesting. Love to get your thoughts on that. People ask me what class it is. I've seen classes like that in health and science. I've seen classes like that in home ec. I've seen it in PE. But what they are starting to do is teach kids life lessons and how to apply for a job, how to get a resume put together, and the basic things. You know, you ask a child, how do you change a tire? And I don't know, take it to Grease Monkey or, Big O Tires. Your thoughts on this, Leeroy? This is something we're pretty familiar with in the military.
Absolutely. So. I absolutely love that guy. I'll tell you straight up. That was awesome. What he's teaching those kids without the kids even really realizing it is just the very top layer, the first layer in a little word that we love called responsibility. And to have somebody who's truly responsible for their actions means that it's somebody who's unafraid to defend themselves when asked, why did you do this? Why did you say that? Right? If the idea is to start at a very young age and start getting those, growing those roots in that word, in that R word, then that's going to be somebody who's unafraid to go to a job interview, who's going to be unafraid to speak about something in a more, we'll say, genuine way, right? I don't want to say intellectual, but maybe for lack of a better term. That's just the beginning of it, and that it has to be the very first step through a doorway that paves the way for responsibility the rest of your life. And the more responsibility he can convey for those kids to take on, then the bigger and better achievements they're going to realize sooner in life. And that is a huge game changer. That builds morals and self character, the character that somebody would need to succeed. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's straight up too, and it's not like just, kids in the mall who have their pants down their ankle and dropping N-bombs. And
right.
There's some white kids that could use that conversation too, who think that they need to act a certain way or be a certain way, whether it's, running around and bullying on people or.
Remember that Twisted Tea video with the kid who was doing that? The white kid who was.
The one that I did the Dave Matthews music to that went viral. That was,
that's right.
That was funny. Yeah, I remember that. But that's what it is today. And there's a lot of people who need a conversation like that, who don't have fathers. And when you breed fatherless homes on purpose, and it's part of your overall plan to keep African Americans in the ghettos and in the cities and make them the modern day slave plantations, it's obvious because Democrats have had 75 years to fix it, and they haven't fixed one city. Nobody can tell me a city that Democrats fixed with liberal policies that's gotten better. I mean, 37 out of the top 50 cities are democratically ran, and they're the most violent cities in America, and there's a reason for it. And I hate to say it, but something's got to change. But you've had Bill Clinton, you've had Obama, you had Carter, you've had Democrats in office, and nobody's done a damn thing. And what's hilarious is when President Trump actually tried to do the contract with America, with Black America, they said it was racist. When he did criminal justice reform, it was racist. This is the problem, and it's not going to get any better. So role models are an important thing, especially in the home. Sometimes Brits make sense, Leeroy. Not a case. Now, I can count on one finger how many times English and the Brits I've used as an example of making sense, but this is pretty good.
Okay. I'm here, so I'm listening.
Yeah, I think the last decent thing that the Brits wrote was the Magna Carta. But here it is, and enjoy this. This is interesting.
Me, perhaps he will listen to Sal Grover, who kindly provided some of.
Never mind. She's Australian. I can tell you right now. I can hear that accent a mile away. It's whatever, Brit. Folks, it's the one thing that I don't make a mistake on. Whoever clipped this video and titled it said she was British. No, she's Australian. And I can tell you, or she's South African, because you can hear it. You can hear it in her dialect. The interesting thing is if you listen to Australia, they go ahead and emphasize on the I's and A's. Okay, but if you go into South Africa, it's different. And it's an Irish, Scottish, and then Welsh, and then Australian and English accent. And it's very, very different, but you can hear it. So if you accidentally call a Brit Australian, you're in trouble. Right. If you accidentally call an Australian a Brit, you're in trouble. But if you accidentally call a South African a Brit or an Australian, you're not getting home alive.
Well, you can hear that in her voice the moment she started speaking. Is that a Chris Hemsworth? Is that a Hugh Jackman, or is it an Idris Elba? Obviously, It's a Chris Hemsworth. Yeah,
right. But you and I have a little bit of a radar that other people don't. Unless you've been there and unless you've spent time with people, sometimes it's hard. And I get it. Some people can't tell Asians apart, and I'm like, it's the easiest damn thing in the world to do once you've been there. But anyway, take a listen.
Her own words for me to share. In a free society.
That's true. Yeah, you share. It's Australian.
People can believe whatever they want. If you want to believe men can be women, or you're a man who wants to call himself a woman, that is your business. What you cannot do in a free society is force anyone else to accept it. What is at stake here is the ability to lawfully acknowledge reality. If you care so much about trans rights, you can work out a way to get them without destroying the category of women in law, female spaces, sports services, the entire reality of lesbianism, and punishing citizens for acknowledging reality. The fact that you haven't even tried makes it appear that destroying the rights of women is the goal. Any politician who will look an Australian in the eye and tell them that a man can be a woman is admitting that they will lie about anything and everything, because the most obvious lie has already been told. If no one in this room can acknowledge reality and fix an obvious problem, you're either malicious or incompetent. The days of dismissing this issue are over. This is not a culture war, it's reality. With that, Deputy Speaker, I commend the bill to the House.
Bravo.
Well, she's in prison. They got her. they put her on the bobby. She's gone.
Did he seriously imprison her?
I'm sure they shot her. I'm pretty confident it's Australia. They either shot her or have her family on hostage. You know, she's been black bagged.
Yeah, until she reverses her stance. Yeah.
Right. She comes out.
It's like
I want to
apologize.
Right. I want to apologize to the Prime Minister and the Royals for my obvious abuse.
Right.
And lack of empathy for the diverse.
Judgment.
I think I'm fucked.
Please forgive my inexcusable language.
Yeah, I was wrong about the business.
Yeah,
they're so funny. Yeah. I love the Aussies. I love the Aussies who aren't assholes. You know what I mean?
You know, that's a big thing, though. What you're describing essentially is this idea of when and how cancer culture became a real thing, with enough pressure that when somebody caves and says, "Oh no, you have to reverse this, or we're going to take away your entire livelihood. We're going to take away your life." That was the cornerstone, the essence of cancel culture. And then you have a very select few who don't need any of the accolades, and they're just willing to say, "No, screw you. I am not reversing my position. I am uncancelable."
That's right.
And more people need to be like that.
I want to create a show. We should change the name from Don't Unfriend Me to Uncancelable, because that's really what it is.
It is.
Here's the question. You know how I feel about PACs, right? Political action committees.
Yeah.
How do I feel about PACs? I hate them.
You hate them.
I hate them. I hate PACs. I think political action committees should be banned. I think the only people in Washington should be the legislators and the citizens. I think no businesses. I think you should have food service by the government. I think you should have security by the government. I don't think you should have a private police force. I think you should be military ran. I think you should kick every single person who lives in Washington, D.C. out. And you should make it a government-run facility, period. Plain and simple. And the reason why is that I don't believe that you should have money as speech, and I don't believe in Citizens United. I don't believe that you should treat this like a city or a state. I think it should be exactly what it is. It's a district. And it has no legal recourse against any state, city, province in the United States. It is simply the capital of our country, and it is a place where the bread is made for government, and the federal government resides. That's it, just like a state capital. I'm not a big fan of political action committees. So when I sit here and people go, well, what about AIPAC? And what about all those Jews? And then I defend it. It's not that I'm getting my 7,000 shekels here. It's not that I'm getting a check. It's that, no, it's not that I have a problem with AIPAC. I have a problem with all PACs. I just don't understand why you are only talking about one PAC. And
right.
Isn't it so funny that
One-sided.
it's not an Israel, it's not a foreign, everyone's like, it needs to register with FARA. No, it doesn't, because it's a U.S.-based PAC, and only U.S. members are in it. Israeli Jews deserve representation, and they are here in the United States, and they get a PAC. If we have a PAC for Qatar, if we have a PAC for the fucking dairy industry, we get a political action committee for the second most relegated and delegated to constant discrimination, genocide, even just slightly less than Christians, then they get a PAC. Okay, the class that has demonstrated the most hatred for is transgender, surprisingly enough. But that ratio to proportion is ridiculous, because there are not enough transgenders to make a dent. it's just heavily saturated
Not
because
real
there are
ones.
so not real, right? There's so few. But Jews, they've got a fairly large demographic, and they take a big number. Christians are the most persecuted people on the planet. So the reason why I bring this up is there's a gentleman who did this, and I wanted to set this up. Anna Kasparian, you know, she's the one that makes fun of Jews, and she brings her shoulders in and makes her nose as big as she can, and makes the Goebbels cartoon of Jews as these, you know, snotty, sleazy, dirty human beings who want all the money. She makes this face. She's anti-Israel. She hates Jews. This is the way she is. She's trying to play the Dave Rubin of the Young Turks. She's trying to flirt with conservatism. She's not a conservative. She just recognizes that she is completely isolated and batshit crazy for being on the left. So she's trying to come middle. Her way to come middle is to jump on the I hate Jews bandwagon, and she gets crushed. And this is why I invite these people on the show. This is why I want Nick Fuentes on the show, because I would treat him exactly the same way as this guy cooks Anna Kasparian. Here it is. Long intro, but watch this.
It's interesting that you talk about Zionist billionaires because actually Jeff Yass funded Thomas Massey's campaign as well. I find it interesting that you don't talk about NIAC, the National Iranian American Council. I find it interesting you don't talk about the Council on American Islamic Relations. I find it interesting you don't talk about the Jordanian Muslims, the Marouk family, who also funded him. You don't talk about the Iranian Joe Keeney, who I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I find it interesting that you're talking about how AIPAC has this ability to simply fund elections with any money they want, yet Maureen Galindo, who said that American Zionists need to be put in internment camps, actually won her election yesterday. Chris Rabb, who said that the Bondi Beach massacre, which killed 10 Jews by an Islamist, including a 9-year-old girl, Matilda, he said it was a false flag. He won his election yesterday. So if AIPAC is, you know, buying any election they want, how come they didn't buy those elections? Why did they allow those candidates to win? So again, if you want to focus on money, then sure, Thomas Massey also raised $15 million from Islamist groups, from far-left Democrats. He went on your show repeatedly.
George
But look,
Soros.
Kamala Harris raised $1 billion.
He did not go on our show repeatedly. You made that up.
Excuse me. He went on your show the day before the election. All right,
You can't
Don't
just
call me a
lie.
liar.
This is what's known as deflection. Like, she's getting completely cooked, and she grabs the one thing he made a mistake on. The proper way to handle that is, I apologize. I obviously made a slip. I'm going to go ahead and continue scolding you and destroying you and burying you in 6 feet of your own muck. But you're right. It was the day before the election. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish. You don't defend it. Just own it and move on.
Came on
Thomas
for a
Massey go on your
second,
show the day before
had
the election.
technical issues and had to
Okay.
drop off.
Your thoughts on this, man? I mean, is it 100 miles an hour? Do you think she processes any of that? Do you think people followed it? Or do you think you could focus on one little thing and explain it and disprove her entire point of, be specific, please tell me which election specifically was won and for what reason? Because yes, Thomas Massey's opponent, of course, Thomas Massey is running against Jews. Of course, Jews are going to go ahead and support the other candidate. Isn't that in their own best interest?
Right. Well, for 2 things. First of all, the interview with that whoever that was, the kid, he was talking a mile a minute, and that's fine. But if we're really trying to connect with an audience, and I understand the format is set up such that he has to convey as much as he can in as little amount of time as possible. So I get that, but what I'm saying is that it's not effective. It makes you seem like you're trying to sell something,
or filibuster somebody, right?
Right. So if we can just slow things down a little bit and really just talk about the points that are real, the points that actually impact real Americans' lives, that would be far more impactful. And if we're talking about the PACs, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that. I always wonder how many congressmen and senators who entered into the field with nothing more than $50,000 in the bank 4 years later, somehow they end up worth millions. And you know that that's not from their regular paychecks. That's from back alley deals. It's from stock market. It's from insider trading. It's from a lot of things that we as regular Americans cannot participate in because, 1, it's illegal. 2, it's immoral. You know, so if we could just get the money out of DC, that would be amazing. I talked about this probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago in the show that, you know, the 16th Amendment, which is what introduced the idea of the tax code, taxing every American. You know, we didn't have nearly as much financial corruption prior to that because there was no money. Right. Wherever there is money, there will be criminals, broken laws, extortion, and crime, right? And so if we can just get behind this idea of, it's the Disney cruise thing. It's the we found out that there was a whole series of pedos who were on a Disney cruise line working it, and you're like, wait, why would that be? Where the hell do you think the kids are?
Yeah. Right.
So if we could get the money out of DC, we would see so much less corruption. We would see so much less of this influence from what everyone is already worried about, which is the influence from bigger corporations, from people who have bank accounts that have so many more zeros than anybody else. And these people are influencing policy over regular Americans' lives. And a lot of that is done with dollars. It's influence.
It's funny you say that. It's like, why are there pedos? I mean, we're going to argue about the pronunciation, and it's pedos, not pedos. It's not pedos. It's not. It's not like it's not a GIF. It's a GIF. GIF is JIF. GIF that's peanut butter. So I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. It's me. It's not you. It's me. I get weird about this shit. But it's
just
like Willie
fucker. Just say that.
Yeah, that's so much easier. Oh. There we go. So Willie Sutton answered it best. Why do you rob banks? Because that's where the money is.
That's where the money is.
That's where the money is. That's why I rob banks. Well, why are pedos going to Disney Cruise Lines? Because that's where the kids are. So it's not. You want to find where all the pedophiles are in the world. Here's where you can find them: amusement parks, schools, and massive organized religion. That's just the truth. Whether you like that or not. Oh, and Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. It's truth. Because that's
if we're also talking by that very nature, if we're talking about trying to find every political influencer, every criminal, every extortionist, everybody who's ever profited from policy, you got to go to DC then.
Yep. 2.6% of the expected votes are in. Estimated is 1.6 million. So far, 62.3% for Ken Paxton. And John Cornyn is at 37.7. That is a very interesting number. We're going to be covering some of this. We're going to continue the show. I'm not going to be leaving for the Avs game, but we are in a shortage of donations, and this is weird. Usually either the show is extremely good or people just forgot, but we're at $10. Our goal is 290 away, and it's already 8 o'clock. We would really love to hit our goal. So if you haven't had a chance, please drop off to thedumbshow.com/donate. Help this show out. We have a new commercial coming out, which will probably help, but that doesn't help today. So if you have a second, please do that. We would appreciate it. Everything the kid said was true. But the point is that he couldn't say it in a way to respond. So what I would do is I would try to set a relationship with Anna Kasparian and say, Anna, listen, you believe that it's wrong to fund politicians if they're not a U.S.-based company. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, great. Can you please tell me which non-U.S. based company funded Ed Galleran?
You have to pin it down. Exactly.
And then wait.
You have to pin them down on that point.
Right. And then wait.
Yep.
And then when she doesn't answer, you say, great, now I'm going to go ahead and name 12, including George Soros, who's a Jew, by the way, who put money into Thomas Massey's campaign. And here they are. That is how you end that debate. And Anna Kasparian, but the moment that you made a comment that he's been on his show multiple times, this is why you don't go at 120 miles an hour, because then you step on your own dick and you give her a lifeline. Because once listen, I've told you this is how Leeroy and I do it. Once you prove something's a lie, then you just unravel the sweater. Once you find one thing is not true about your assumptions or assertions or even intel you're getting from whatever source it would be. Once you find out that a piece of it isn't true, you start then looking with a different lens. You're not necessarily there trying to prove it correct. You're trying to prove it wrong. And that is a very different way of looking at things. The moment you gave her that lifeline, at that moment, he knew he fucked up. You know what I mean? Because that's exactly what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But still, good stuff. Here's the rest. Grandma cooks. This is good. Watch this.
His cock was enormous. Filthy books that you have. I'm going to read one. If there's children in.
Wait a second. What is this? Well, I'll tell you. I already know the name of this book. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I read Cocks Are Enormous on the show. And you remember that we got it from the Fairfax and Loudoun County Library when they were having pornographic books, including a illegal gardener who was a 28-year-old gardener who fucked a 12-year-old boy and did it in the book. And graphic novel. Also the books that show how to have homosexual sex and lesbian sex. They are giving these to kids in libraries. We covered this on Fairfax and other schools here in Loudoun County. But the interesting thing is that this book, they are saying that this book is completely acceptable for children. But she's reading it at a meeting with adults, and they have a problem with her reading it. Does that make any sense to anyone? If adults are offended by this, then kids would be too. I'm sorry for the language, but it is important that you guys understand the depravity in these books.
The audience, they need to leave.
Ma'am, point of order, this is a public hearing.
I understand that.
You will not be allowed to read things that are not appropriate in public.
Oh, not appropriate? Then why are they in your schools?
Ma'am,
this book
you're missing your time.
Is in DeBakey, Fur, and Heights High School. His cock was enormous.
Absolutely not, ma'am. You are now out of order. This is your first warning. One more word and you will be removed.
She wrapped her hand around his cock. She
Absolutely
licked across
not.
his broad
This is your
head,
second
tongue
warning.
sliding
Thank you,
into the small slit.
Officer, please
If you
escort
don't like
this
it,
woman
remove
from
it
the
so the
podium.
children don't have access to it.
Way to go, Grandma.
Good on her. You know, that's the level of shame that that has to happen at every local meeting. Everyone gets all pissed off about, you know, things that Trump has said or done. But if you're really trying to impact real lives, right, go to your local board meetings. Do what Grandma just did.
Yeah.
Find the hypocrisy that exists on the left that is happening in your community and bring it to those types of meetings. It needs to happen.
12.6% of the expected vote is in. Estimated remaining is 1.44 million votes remaining. Ken Paxton has 121,000 votes at 58.3%. John Cornyn is at 85,947. That is essentially a 17-point lead. If this continues, this is going to be an early night. If he has 17% of the vote, around 36%, Texas is going to call this for Ken Paxton, and Cornyn will go home. Let's just do a quick little update on this. Go to our screen share. Folks, you're getting this amazing coverage and this amazing show tonight brought to you by the Don't Unfriend Me Show, which is not funded by anyone other than y'all. And we're bringing that up because we're $200 away, $290 away from goal. And
we need your help.
We need your help, folks. It costs money to run this thing. Trust me. Here is where we're at. We're seeing a lot of Austin is in going for Paxton. That's not a good side for Cornyn at all because they're going to go ahead and go against the Trump candidate because Austin is a lib-lab city. Taking a look up in Dallas, Cornyn is winning, but barely 50% in. He's not even a point ahead. This looks like it very well could go Paxton's way. I'm checking West Texas, checking North Texas, Paxton, Southern Texas, Paxton, decimating. Calhoun, let's try to find Houston and where we're at. Nothing's in on Houston yet, but we're seeing some good numbers so far. We want Paxton because Cornyn is a rhino douchebag who doesn't do anything for President Trump. We're going to keep it on the pulse on that throughout the rest of the show. Your thoughts on Paxton and Cornyn? You think Paxton's got a shot there, Leeroy?
I certainly hope so, but I'm going to be honest with you. I have not followed that nearly as closely as I should for a seemingly intelligent podcast co-host.
Yeah,
so,
well,
I'm just going to own that.
There's no reason to be personal and say that about me. Listen, Cornyn and Paxton. Paxton has a lot of pull with the establishment Republicans, but people are sick of them not using the MAGA mandate the way they should, and Cornyn has been in direct opposition, Paxton has a good chance, and I like what he's been saying, so that's a good thing. Oh, thank God, Kat Alkire, in memory of J-Bug, who passed last week, my border collie girl, my last large doggo. Kat, I'm so sorry. That sucks.
Oh, my God, Kat. So my dog is a border collie lab mix. I get it. And she's getting up there in age, so I'm with you. I'm so sorry to hear that.
I am sorry to hear about that, too. We love our animals. Like, my dog wasn't eating, and it's the fact that she is finicky. And she gets this amazing chicken blend with wet food and bone broth, and she's sticking her nose at it. So I have to put a quarter teaspoon of peanut butter in her food, and she eats it all. And I'm just like, you know what? You're worth it. You're worth it. So she eats it, and she's happy. But she's finicky. And the reason why she wants the smell, she doesn't like the smell of the food. She wants human food. And I'm like, well, then let's give her a tiny little bit of peanut butter. It's good for her, a little bit. You can't have too high, but a little bit of fat's good for her. And now I have to give my dog a little peanut butter in her food. What we do for our animals.
Spoiled, right?
Okay. Well, she does that. She won't eat. Everyone's like, when she's hungry, she'll eat. No, she won't. My dog is literally Gandhi. So she's on a fast. Man. Yeah. James Tallarico, going back to Texas. Now, this is for the Senate race, right? So this is huge. This is a runoff for Senate. And then Tallarico is opposition candidate. Yeah, we can already put the MAGA is over narrative. I'm looking at some of these numbers for Senate, and I think we might hold the Senate. And the House looks to be a tough gain, especially with the redistricting. It may only be a net positive 1 seat, but what it does is eliminates competition. It makes certain contested districts no longer contestable, which is a bad thing for liberals. So if Trump can hold on to the House and the Senate, hold on to your socks, folks. If you thought this first 2 years was good, holy shit, the next 2 years is going to be amazing.
I wouldn't have given him. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I wouldn't have normally given him that kind of credit right out of the gate like this. But then when he won the election and literally became just the second president ever to have a non-consecutive term, then you start thinking, well, he certainly can't do this or he certainly can't do that. And like everything that he says that he's going to do, where I've had this, man, there's no way he can. Oh, and then he does it. And you're like, oh man, this is legit. If we end up as positive as we can be with the midterms, I think that his next 2 years are. He may try to accelerate certain processes, certain policies that would hopefully limit more of the government. But he's done a fantastic job, man.
Yeah, second president to serve split terms. Grover Cleveland.
That's what I said.
He said the only.
The second president.
We're going to replay
that. Did I say the only?
I think you might have said the only. The first is, I thought, what you said. But I could be wrong. I could have heard it wrong. You know what? I didn't hear it.
It was Grover Cleveland.
Yeah, but you were right. You're right. I missed it. I'm sure I missed it. Nobody's going to play it back. Nobody cares. We believe you. I know you knew that because we talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it.
85 and 89. 18. Yeah, we talked about it. What's wrong with Matt? I don't know. What's wrong with me? I don't know what's wrong with my herpes flare up again. What's wrong? I know. I was like, is my Simplex 10, did it go oral? What's wrong? I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm fine. Why? Is there something? Do I look funny? Do like a fucking clown? Is that what you're saying to me?
No, you're a funny guy.
Funny guy? What? I
almost got you.
Yeah, I almost got new numbers in. Pecos is going for Paxton, which is holy shit. That's the Western Texas, which is interesting. Presidio is 30, 25, 75 split. You don't interrupt me at all. That's your job. 17.9% of the vote is in, folks, with expected 1.35 left. This isn't looking good for Cornyn. He's now, Paxton's up by 21%. I'm going to give it another 20%. And they should call this. It's looking really good so far. Speaking of results, we're at $110. We are missing $190 here. We had a huge donation by Kat. I know if we all kind of put our hats out and throw something into the basket of sharing. We can make this goal. Plus, take pity on me. My abs are down 3-0. I need all the positive karma I can get. Right now, Cornyn is looking really bad, and Paxton is looking really good. Here is another. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, between now and November, I think the amount of political ads that you're going to see is going to be insane. And just last week, there was a New York Times Siena poll. It was dated May 11 through 15 that said that in order to win the next presidential election, who do you think the Democrat candidate needs to move the party to the left, move the party to the center, or move it in neither direction rather. And like an overwhelming number of people,
move it to the right.
Right? Yeah. 52% of the Democrat Party said that they need to move to the center in general. 50% of them said they need to move to the right on crime. 46% on immigration. And the numbers just kept on coming in. So Matt and I had talked about this in the past.
Right.
We saw the left literally painting themselves into a corner, so much so that how do you reverse that? How do you reverse that in policy? How do you get to a point in immigration where you go from, no, we want all open borders because I'm AOC or Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Now all of a sudden you have more than half of your own party saying, no, we need something. We need to. Now they have to walk that back. And here's the problem. They have to walk it back, but they have to sell you on the fact that we screwed up, I guess.
No, you have to have them reverse their entire positions on 80-20 rules, because Donald Trump took like every single 80-20 issue and made the Democrats eat it like a giant shit burger. And
all of those independents. Yep.
Now you're going to have to put that proverbial shit back in the horse, or the toothpaste back in the tube if we want to make it PG-13. No, I don't think I wasn't speaking Parisian. There's a big difference between Australian and Parisian.
You
trust
know Parisian?
me.
I thought it was Australian.
No, there's some things. So I slept at a Holiday Inn. Somebody was actually asking what I was struggling with down here. First of all, they call me tripod. No, I'm wearing board shorts and it's got webbing in the pockets. And if you've ever tried to get chapstick out of board shorts, like lunar recovery of the Apollo 13 was slightly less difficult than that. So just it's not easy. Liv always asks me, do you have chapstick? I'm like, no. She's like, really? You always have chapstick? I was like, I do. She's like, well, I don't understand. I said, I'm wearing board shorts and there's no chance I'm getting those things out. Update on the election. 19.5, 20% of the vote is in, 1.3 million left. And he's got a 19-point lead. Actually, scratch that. I was wrong, 100% wrong. It is a 22% lead. Ken Paxton's winning by 22%. There's a lot of votes out there, folks, but Austin is all around Paxton. Austin's going for Paxton. Dallas, we just got Deaf Smith in, which is a small county. Parmer is small county, but it's 70-30 split. All the northwest is going for Paxton. In fact, Cornyn is not winning one county right now. I think he just lost Dallas too. Nope, he's still winning Dallas, but now it's only 0.4 of a point. So, looking good. Tallarico is dangerous. This is the guy who believes that God is a he, jem, jer. Yeah. This is a person who believes that men can be women. This is a person who believes in sexual transitioning for minors. Now he is talking about this. This guy is just what's Houston doing? Oh, they're going for Paxton. Paxton's destroying in Houston. Destroying. 72% is going for Paxton. He's done. They should call this now. Houston is going. Dallas is going. El Paso is going. Austin is going. He's cooked. There's no way the fucking outliers are going to go. They're all Trump country. He's cooked. He's toast. This is going to be an ass raping of epic proportions. He is 37% of Houston's in, and he's winning by 40 points. 40. This is an ass raping. This is the one thing I don't like is on this election map. Can I just tell you, Trump needs to get on this. This is a little frustrating. You're down here. It says Gulf of Mexico. I don't like it. All right, let's go. Tallarico, I've been trying to play this slide for 20 minutes.
I
trust Texas women to make decisions about their own bodies, to shape their own destinies in consultation with their family members, their doctors, their faith leaders. I don't believe that's a place for government. I don't believe it's a place for politicians. I don't believe it's a place for the state. And that's a belief I hold not despite my faith, but because of my faith.
What?
Jesus never talks about abortion. The Bible is silent on abortion. And when that happens with a social issue as important as abortion, we Christians have to take Scripture as a whole, and we've got to try to make some kind of ethical determination. Right now in Texas, we have the most extreme abortion ban in the country. No exception for rape.
Okay. Bullshit. Number one. This guy is flat out lying. Do you know how bad I want to address this, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give it to you. But this guy just gave his political opponent a layup, because this guy just said, literally in that statement, repudiated everything in our country, our laws and everything else, right to life. You want to tackle this one, or do you want me to pick him apart?
Everyone has seen both you and I tear up a policy that has anything to do with abortion. But I would note something that's interesting there. When he's talking about, I think the government should stay out of the office between an expecting mother and their doctor. I think the government should stay out of that. Okay. Well, how do you feel about murder? Should the government stay out of that? If we're talking about, and this is often the point that you hear from liberals, is that it's a right to privacy issue, which is covered by the Constitution, that it's something that because it's a privacy issue, the government shouldn't touch it. Great. So if a murder happens in a living room and all the doors are closed and all the windows are shut.
Privacy.
It's privacy. Whatever's happening there doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter if somebody's getting their head lopped off. It's right to privacy. Is that correct? And that's what you have to do when you're dealing with liberals. You have to use the examples that you know they can't get out of. And he's crazy, by the way. He is absolutely crazy and wrong.
Certifiable.
Yeah.
Can I just interject one thing? Exodus 20:13. Thou shalt not murder. Bible talks about abortion right there. Thou shalt not murder. And it doesn't say thou shalt not kill. People keep saying thou shalt not kill. Bullshit. Bible doesn't say thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not murder. Murder means doing it in cold blood. Justified murder, justified killing is absolutely 100% okay. So the thing listen, if the government is not responsible for life, then who is supposed to protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Does somebody want to tell me that?
Exactly.
When is that who's supposed to do that? That is absolutely the only reason the government exists, is to protect our ability to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, to protect our borders and to protect us from foreign invasion. That's the government's job, folks. This other bullshit of having talk shows and getting out there and giving their opinions and writing legislation for the country, that's not their job. Their job is to protect our country and to ensure that our judicial branch, our legislative branch, and the executive branch all check and balance each other along with the fourth estate. And right now, we only have one branch of our government which is working effectively. It's the judicial branch. That's it. It's the only one that's working. And it's not because they agree with us. It's because it's the only one that's actually following the Constitution. This is the most constitutionally allied Supreme Court we've ever had.
Got kicked.
Yeah, we did. We got interrupted. It's reconnecting right now. It's coming back on. This is great because now the only thing that's going to be wrong is Rumble. Rumble's going to have problems. Check it, please. Let me know if Rumble's good. We might have sorry, folks. It happens. We had a power surge or whatever, and internet got interrupted for a second. But we have a backup now. So when that happens, we usually can reconnect right away. So we're waiting. Yep, everyone's back on. Yeah, seriously. Folks, this is a great time to talk about donations because remember the other night, we couldn't get back on. So we had to disconnect. We're at $190 and waiting. This is a good show. We're having a great show. We need some help. We need you.
I do not see us back up on Rumble yet.
Yeah, it's I think Rumble, I'm going to have to stop it and restart. End stream. End. So, folks, if you haven't had a chance to donate to the show, we could really use you right now.
While you're doing that, if I can finish my thought on abortion, is that all right?
Yeah. Did I interrupt you? I'm sorry.
No. I think I can't tell from when the connection dropped. We've talked about this on the show before. I would love to discuss. I would love to debate somebody like that who is so vehemently, pro-abortion, and try to make them square their logic, square their statements with the Declaration of Independence, with the opening of the Declaration of Independence, right? Because there's only two ways to deny somebody the right to life, right? You can either kill them, right? Say somebody who's in prison with the death penalty, or with abortion, somebody murder along the way, right? You have to take a life in order to remove somebody's right to it, right? And so when we talk about the Declaration of Independence, that we believe in certain unalienable rights. Why is life the very first one listed? Because it's the most important. And without that critical cornerstone, without that beginning, then none of the other rights exist. You have to have the right to life in order for any of the other ones to be exercised at all.
And even if you don't agree with that, it's kind of hard to pursue liberty and happiness without being alive. So even from like an existentialist point of view, you want to go ahead and say that. From a fundamentalist, and I don't want to touch the spirituality of that. From an existential point of view and a physical point of view, if you're not alive, it's really hard to pursue happiness. Okay, so I don't know why that's so hard. Elizabeth says we need 19 people to give $10, or we just need someone to really help out because we are in a pickle, and without you, we can't do it. So this is weird. We've been doing really well lately, but tonight is kind of a snafu. So would love some help if you can. That would be awesome. We're getting into the last part of the show here.
Folks. Am I the problem?
No, it's not. It's not you. It's just a weird night. That's all. By the way, if you have not been over to the Don't Unfriend Me show and you're like, I can't donate, but I want a shirt. Okay, well, good. Go get a shirt because now you don't have to go shopping. Get the Freedom shirt. Look at this stretchy. Feel this?
I love that.
Our shirts. Everyone knows our shirts. Our shirts are the great. She's like, don't stretch my shirt. Doesn't matter. I could wear this thing and it will go back into shape.
She's not wearing a shirt right now?
Well, So anyway, Freedom shirt on the front and on the back, beautifully designed. Look at the colors.
Oh, I love
Look at the quality. Look at the quality of the print. This is no joke. Look at it's not stiff. Look at
Yeah.
Look at that. You guys know when you get prints like that, you can't roll that shirt up. It's stiffer than shit. Not this. There is no stiffness. It is absolutely high, and it will not wash off. It will not. This shirt is 6 years old. This was the first Don't Unfriend Me shirt we ever had.
Yep.
I've washed it forever. Look at this. My hand's in here. Look how easy that is. Look at you.
That's high quality.
You can't even hear it.
That really is very difficult to do.
It is.
There's very few shirts that are that soft and retain that level of flexibility.
You want to know why? We have DDG printing. It's a revolutionary printing technology. It gives you unbelievable color patterns, and it does not bleed, and it does not wash off. Elizabeth Hall donated $20. Thank you, Elizabeth Hall. We love you.
Elizabeth.
See, she put her money where her mouth is. Thank you so much for that. So, point is, go over to the Don't Unfriend Me show. You can also get yourself a hat. This is stitched. Look at this. It's stitched. Go get a stitched hat this size. Look at that. Remember everyone deployed. It actually even says remember everyone deployed on it. Can you see that?
Yes.
Look at that. Stitch. Look how beautiful it is. It's flush with the hat. It doesn't look stupid. It's fitted.
That should be your standard issue on Fridays. When you go to work Fridays, provided your job allows for it, that should be the cover that you wear.
That's right. I know. I had to sell. I had to sell the shirts a little bit. Had to do it. Okay. Vaccine safety risk. Okay. This is interesting. I wasn't going to put this on. You know what? I'm not going to do it now. I want to keep the numbers up because every time we do this happens. But this lady doesn't like Pratt because of talking points. Listen to this. She basically says, I'm not going to vote Pratt because of CNN.
I'm not a big fan of Spencer Pratt. I don't think he's the smartest guy in the world, so I don't think that would be the best position for him.
So, do you know about his platform?
I don't really know. I just know that he's married to Heidi and all of that, but he sort of got his start on reality TV and was the villain. But
do you know why he decided to run, though?
I don't, actually.
So his house burnt down on the Palisades wildfire, and LA had a very slow response. So a lot of people lost everything.
Okay.
So he ran so that he could help clean up the wildfire preparedness as well as the response time.
Well, that's respectable. I wasn't aware of that.
Have you heard of Skid Row?
Yeah.
Did you know that some of those people are drug users and they're testing their drugs on the dogs to make sure that it's safe for them before they do it?
No.
Spencer Pratt wants to put an end to that. One of his campaign taglines is vote Spencer to save the dogs.
I mean, honestly, I knew none of those things about Spencer Pratt, and that's very honorable, and I would tend to hike him up a bit, I guess.
Yeah, he's trying to address problems that Karen Bass has ignored.
Okay.
And he's trying to come in and fix those specific issues.
Yeah, I mean...
Does that improve your, idea or concept
100%, because I would have thought somebody like him would be more for clout or just to get his name and just for more of a famous type reason, but...
This is opposite of clout.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So...
Grandma's got some nice boobies. I'm just saying. They're firm and they're subtle.
Hot.
She's looking good. Just saying.
I would probably sway towards those issues and voting for him.
Wow.
Thank you, Paul Rivera. $10.80. Great show tonight, brothers. $10 challenge to all the dummies. Did Matt just tease a story? Brilliant. Love the t-shirt plug. We'll definitely be ordering a few of those. Did I tease a story? I don't understand. Yes, I did. You just order shirts. Ken Paxton. Polls close in 27 minutes. I don't think it's going to matter, folks. 40% of the vote is in. There's only 976,000 votes. Oh, this is over. Ken Paxton has 425,000 votes at 62.6%, 254,000 for John Cornyn, 37.4%. So at this current ratio, the delta, do the math with me, folks, see if you can do this with me. Right now, you're talking about 125,000 votes, more than that, actually. You're looking at 200,000 votes, okay? So let's do the math. 200,000 votes are in the positive for Ken Paxton. There's 1 million votes remaining. Okay, 1 million votes remaining. Right now, 62%. That's 620,000 votes more for Ken Paxton. That would mean what? That there are only 380,000 votes remaining for John Cornyn. If the current way that this runs, there's no way he can win. I expect this to be called any minute. Just letting you know, I'm doing the math in my head, and I'm letting you know it's going to be, essentially what would happen is they would have to flip it on its ear. Cornyn would have to get 62% of the vote and then 37% because he has to make up 200,000 votes and then hold off the 380,000 votes that Ken Paxton would get. Do you understand? They're getting to a point where there is no return. Now, they are going to have to wait until the polls close because Texas will revolt. But once they close, they're going to call this.
You've got another 26 and a half minutes on that. And they just updated the numbers to 434,000 for Ken Paxton. And Cornyn only has 257. So 257,000.
Yeah, it don't look good. Well, I'm just letting you know. It don't look good. That is an absolute ass whooping. 35%, folks. 35%. That's a massive gap. So when this thing gets down, like I said, about 46%, I would call it now, but you can't because polls are still open and people will not be happy. You just let it go till 9 and then shut her down. Like Dark City, shut her down. Shut her down. 140-80, folks. We're bleeding tonight. Electioneering. Is this electioneering? You're not allowed within 100 foot of a polling place if you are an official. If you're running for office, you're not allowed 100 foot in front of a polling place. Is it electioneering if you are? I don't know. Let's find out.
Hello, everybody. All right. We're on the countdown. On the countdown. Just one more week. One more week. Let me just thank you you so much for all of your support. I know you have been walking precincts, you've been making phone calls, you've been over there at the headquarters, because we're gonna
doing everything but working.
We're gonna bring this to home base and win, right? I even have the babies on my side. Babies for Bass.
The ones they haven't
You're
killed.
Never too young. Hi, Joy. Thank you. Babies for Bass.
Dropped. I'm live.
No, I'm seeing the same thing.
What are you seeing, Leeroy?
It's a frozen screen.
It's working for me. Hold on. I haven't gotten a warning. We got to call Comcast and find out what's going on. It seems like, Leroy, are you still frozen?
No.
Everyone,
No.
we're working, guys. We're working. We got 126 people on. It's okay. No, you didn't bother me. Hey, I want to know. Update on the Cornyn race, 42.7%, 946,000 votes remaining, 62.8% to 37, still 35 points up, 25 points up. There it is. Folks, we are at 140. We have 160. Colorado Avalanche game starts at 9 o'clock. I'm leaving at 9. To answer your question, that's not electioneering. Candidates can go in front of polling places. Every candidate local here does it. Brandon Michon, I was outside of his polling place. Winsome Sears was outside of a polling place. But on election day, you can't go inside those doors. And if you do, it's electioneering. But she has every right to go to a polling place right now. But if it's early voting or not, and that's the thing. So with early voting, it makes it very complicated. So Pratt says it's electioneering. If early voting was taking place then most assuredly it is. So here's what it comes down to. I hope she gets her ass kicked. That's it. Donating for the dummies that can't, but would if they could. Dumb Nation. Thank you, Mr. Sauce.
Mr. Sauce.
What do you think, Sauce? Man? I do too. What do you think, man? Do you think it's electioneering?
I don't. Everything that I've ever seen about it that has to do with election laws and interfering with elections all seems to have to do with whether or not there are representatives from either party that are trying to influence the people that are in line, handing out, water. Things like that are, I think, generally frowned upon, but you just can't tell a person, hey, go ahead and vote for this person and we'll give you this bottle of water. No, it doesn't work that way. It has to be free no matter what the message is.
Correct.
I don't think that was election interference or electioneering. I think that was just
horrible campaigning with nobody there. Nobody was there.
Yeah.
She's a POS. Did I tell you I applied for Berkeley?
No, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah. When I got in the military, I did really well in my college I went to. I student body vice president, was on the debate team, cum laude if I would have continued. I had like a 4.16. I did really well. And I started applying to colleges in Stanford, Vautech, Berkeley, University of Boulder. Mm-hmm. And I did not get accepted to Berkeley, but I got accepted to Stanford. And I did really, really well. And then I had a baby out of wedlock, and that changed everything, right? So I got a girl pregnant. I said, okay, time to go to work. No college for me. I'll take my honorary 2-year from the military, which pretty much you get when working Intel. You pretty much have a 2-year pretty much locked. You got to do a couple courses. And then my political science 2-year, and then I'm going to go. And I dropped. But the only reason I wanted to go to Berkeley was so I could piss off liberals. Like, it's so funny I'm doing a podcast because I wanted to do that when I was a kid too. Like, I always want to piss off liberals. But Berkeley actually did something really good. During their their graduation ceremony, a student came up with a Palestinian flag, and they would not give him his degree until he put it away, and gave it and handed it over. I thought it was pretty interesting. Watch.
I'm sorry, we can't. I'm sorry, but we're not allowed to have flags. Flags are not flags are prohibited. We're not allowed to have flags. It's not our policy, it's the university policy. We are not allowed to have flags. Do you want to leave it here? Do you want to leave it here? We cannot display flags. We are prohibited from displaying flags. Yes.
What a mess.
You should ask him to take his vest off too. That's probably a little more dangerous than the flag.
Man, he was quick to exit there.
Yeah, you spent $250,000 on an education you could have got with a library card, buddy. Enjoy that as that plays at every single job interview you ever have for the rest of your life. What a douchebag.
Does that not remind you, though, of the very first segment that we had done about the gentleman who's trying to talk to the kids in class about speech? Because whether or not we want to acknowledge it or not, him holding up the flag or saying certain things or wearing certain things all has to do with speech and whether or not that speech is responsible or not. Yeah. And to a very big degree, I see that as part of the same problem.
Yeah. And like I said, someone said he's wearing the kafaya. Yeah. I mean, you're wearing a PLO terrorist piece of clothing. That shouldn't be allowed either. Listen. It's amazing how they want to talk about diversity and inclusion, but they don't give a flying shit about the Jews that are in the audience. You know what I mean? And honestly, if someone came up with an Israeli flag and the Star of David, I'd tell them to sit their asses down and put it away too. It's not the time and place. Yeah, put that shit away. U.S. flag, don't care. There's not the time and place for it, folks. There's a time and place for it. It's not now. That's it. Sorry.
Right. If you're up there to celebrate your achievement, your academic achievement, and moving forward and trying to contribute to society, then prominently displaying a flag of any kind. I'm with Berkeley. I thought that was really well done. Good on them for having a
and
spine.
They stood their ground. They stood their ground. I mean, God, what are they going to
Yeah.
Oh, no, they lost the PLO contingency. Bummer. Whatever are they going to do? Well, I don't know. Qatar puts a shit ton of money into Berkeley, so I understand, but the fact that they took a stand, I mean, that's going to piss off some Arabs. It really is, and they put a lot of money. Folks, speaking of money, we're $100 short on goal. We're leaving in 17 minutes. I got to put up the clock. This night is kind of dragged by, which is exciting. It's been a fun night. It's been quick, but slow at the same time. It's really weird. Usually these nights, they fly by, but this has just had a good pace to it. It's just been a good pace to it. I don't know how to say it anything other than that. It's just a solid pace. Ken Paxton, give you guys an update on that real quick for our next video. 930,000. It's going to slow down now because the polls, they're going to wait for the rest of the votes. They've counted the early counts are in and the early voting is in. Mail-in votes are in. Now they're waiting for the final polls to report. But there's not a lot of help on the map for Cornyn. He's in some deep caca trouble, folks. Mm-hmm. This map is, I mean, there's still probably 40 precincts that are not in yet with any totals, but it doesn't matter. I've only
seen 6 that went for Cornyn.
Yeah, if that. And those are close. Like, Cornyn hasn't taken any that are just like browbeating. It's like Paxton is kicking the living dog shit out of him. Even in Dallas, man, it's only a 1.4% swing in Dallas. That's unheard of. That's ridiculous. The fact that Cornyn, he's done. He's cooked. There's no chance. If you can't pick up one of the big cities, the rural areas are all going to vote MAGA. So he's in some deep caca trouble. I would have called this already, but they can't because I'm telling you, at 9:01, they're going to call this. It's over.
Yeah.
924,000 votes left. He's getting 63% of the vote. He can't make up 200,000.
Not in 14 minutes.
Not in 14 minutes. No. Yeah. No. This isn't even going to be close. This is just literally a bloodbath, right? This is arterial red bloodbath. I'm giving you the Matt seal of approval that this is 100% over. I'm calling it for Paxton. Okay. I don't do that ever. I think I've only done that with Kerry Lake, where I called it 2 weeks before anyone else. So anyway, Newark anti-ICE protester. News is doing a segment, and of course this goes back to the first video too, of how you treat people in public. And this is what he says to a reporter on TV. I can't believe this crap. Listen to this.
People like this. You are a protester who's been out here and you have a dirty mouth. But, okay, so that's just what we deal with. So just for people that want to know what it's like to cover these protests, it's constant with this. This is what these people do. They want people who are in this country illegally to be released out onto the streets. DHS says that's what they're going to not be doing. So we'll see.
Nazi bitch, that's what you are.
Whoa.
That is an eloquent argument made against the presence of Alexis McAdams, reporting on what's happening there outside of Newark. Stay safe.
What does that left have left? Honestly,
that's all they have.
Because if they can't articulate their positions on policy, they immediately have to move to you Nazi, racist, misogynistic, blah blah blah. There's a flow chart, right?
Yep. Yeah, ad hominem.
That's the only thing they can do.
Yeah, that's all they can do. It doesn't even be any clearer.
I'm okay with that.
I am too. I got called a pedophile today, and I'm like, okay, whatever. You're a Nazi, but it's just that it's just the same.
You can't keep up.
That's it. It's just all it is. The meaning of those words are I can't make an argument. You're just it's not changed in 10 years.
No,
you can't make an argument. Whatever. Like, oh no, I'm a pedophile. Whatever. Prove it. Prove it. Some guy come out here and goes, "You're a wife beater." I'm like, really? How lazy is that? Just run a background check on me. See if you can find anything outside of an outlet. Yeah, well, yeah, beat that ass. No, it's Amy's fault. Love you, Amy Robinson. Yeah, Amy couldn't be here because she was at the playoffs with her family on Monday. She's busy, folks. She's busy. Folks, we are $100 away. We got to get there. We got 13 minutes. Tarlov gets cooked by Gutfeld. This is a fun one to watch. Let's watch this one.
Yes, we don't need it. What is interesting here is why is only this happening on the left and not the right? That's all we need to know. There's absolutely no cognitive...
What about Melissa Hortman that we just talked about?
You want to talk about Melissa Hortman? Did you know her name before it happened? None of us did. None of us were spending every single day talking about Mrs. Hortman. I never heard of her until after she died.
She doesn't matter?
Don't play that bullshit with me. You know what I'm saying is there was no demonization, amplification about that woman before she died. It was a specific crime against her by somebody who knew her. The same. Now you could bring up Josh Shapiro, but then you will not bring up, for example, that was a pro-Palestine person. So don't use your what about this? The fact of the matter is the both sides argument not only doesn't fly, we don't care. We don't care about your both sides argument. That shit is dead. For one thing, there is no cognitive dissonance on our side. On your side, your beliefs do not match reality, so you're coming up with these rationalizations like, what about this or what about that? We're not doing that because we saw it happen. We saw a young, bright man assassinated, and we know who did it. We are not coming up with rationalizations. We are calm, we are honest, and we are resolute. We're not defensive, and I understand the defensiveness. I understand why people are saying, what about this and what about this? Because if you have to face the underlying fact to this, your life is going to fall apart because you're going to realize you're not the good guys. If you sat around and you defended the mutilation of children, you're not the good guys. If you sat 600, 700 cases of harassment against Republicans and you said, but what about this? What about this? And then you see this murder after calling somebody a fascist, you realize maybe I'm not the good guy. That is a hell of a realization to deal with. So therefore, you have to grasp at rationalizations. You don't have to do that, Jessica. They do. I don't believe you're part of that group, but why?
Mel says, hi, Leeroy. You need to get to the wanker button to use. Good evening, Matthew. She thinks I deserve a wanker for last night, so that's...
Wank!
Yeah, so I was being Toby, And no mess. Don't whip no Toby no more. I won't be called Kunta Kinte. I call me Toby. I love it, master. Don't hit me. Don't hurt me. And the reason why is because she yelled it. Maybe you should get a new commercial. Why don't you hurry up and make the commercial? Where's the commercial? Why haven't you guys done the commercial yet? And I'm just like, I'm trying, massa. I haven't slept in 7 days. Be nice to me.
Yeah, I'm listening to Greg Gutfeld, and I absolutely agree with him. But one thing that he hit on, though, was this idea of defensiveness. And something that we had touched on not 2 minutes before is this idea of the name calling that happens from the left. If you're a Nazi, if you're a fascist, if that's the label that they're throwing at you, it's because they're trying to put you on the defensive and they have nothing else. So all they have to deal with is this emotional outburst in the hopes that they can get you to do the exact same. It's a de-evolution and simultaneously, while that was going on, they had the mugshot of Tyler Robinson up there, and I swear to God, I was like, why do they have Beto O'Rourke up there? Pull them up.
Yeah.
They're identical.
Yeah, no, you're right. They do look a lot alike. There's no doubt about it. And listen, if here's like you guys, we had that liberal call the other night. I was respectable until he started trivializing, not addressing points, not being able to admit that he was wrong. Then I called him a homo. Like, I'm not going to get down there unless you earn it. And once you lose my respect, I'm just going to call you a dipshit idiot. You know, like it's over. You're a twat waffle because I don't have the time to fuck around. I've invited people so many times on this show, not one of them will come on. And there's a reason why they won't come on. It's simple. It's not because they know I'm going to be fair. They know they're going to be able to talk, and they're not going to be able to use their talking points. That's why they don't come on. I watch people all the time go on Piers Morgan. And I'm like, dude, I would destroy that person in the debate because I'm not going to play grab ass with you. I'm not going to let you try to score proverbial cool points. That's not how you win a debate. The debate is I need to ask you a series of questions that you can't answer.
Right.
About your argument. And if I know your argument better than you, and that's the problem, I know you're going to say, I know you're going to talk about pedos. I know you're going to talk about Epstein. I know you're going to talk about indictments. I know you're going to talk about a stolen election. I know you're going to talk about J6. I know you're going to talk about impeachments. I know you're going to talk about Marla Maples. I know your tricks, and I'm better at it than you are.
Oddly enough, every one of those arguments all have the same conclusion, which is, so you're telling me you don't trust government either.
Right.
Then why the hell would you vote to put more of them in power?
That's right. It's objective. It's objective truth. They don't have you can't win when you don't have morality. The only argument you're going to make is objective. You have to establish subjective truth. And morality is subjective truth. Every society on the planet, whether it came from God or not, has established rules and regulations for their society. That is, thou shalt not kill. You know what? That's not objective. Oh, or that's not subjective. Really? How do you want to be killed? No. Well, then it's a subjective truth that thou shalt not kill. Nobody wants to be killed. Nobody. Well, what about if somebody's suffering from a severe disease? Okay. You know what? You're still making a point that at some point in that person's life, they wanted to live. They wanted to be free. They wanted to be happy. That is the point we're trying to make.
Yeah.
Well, but even then they had at some point, whether they have cognitive dissonance or they have disassociation reality disorder, at some point, every single person on the planet wanted to live. That's a guarantee. Yeah. Why? Because every single person has experienced fight or flight. And if you have not experienced fight or flight, you're a liar. Every single person on the planet, even a child at 2 years old, understands fight or flight because how they react to a spanking or how they react to scolding or how they react to the word no. Everybody has. These are subjective truths. Morality is established by the fact that if you do not believe in it, it does not mean that it does not exist. Morality exists everywhere. We know the difference between right and wrong. It's inherent in all of us. We get to a certain age and we understand the right between right and wrong. And if a child comes up and hits one of their siblings and you've never said the words "don't hit her," you know it's wrong. When you step on a lizard and break it in half, you feel the pain of it, whether you are someone who's been told that that's wrong or not. If you don't believe me, when your goldfish died, you never experienced it before, but when it happened, it was traumatic. Human beings understand the difference between right and wrong. I'm going to play the rest of this because it needs to be played, and then we're going to get out of here. Folks, we are $49 away, $48 away.
Hell, do you have to mimic and echo that crap to us? He was a patsy. That guy was a patsy. He was under the hypnotic spell of a direct-to-consumer nihilism, the trans cult, and you know that. If nihilism. You can decide that biology is false, you can agree that murder is okay and that humanity is expendable. How you cannot see that alone and see that for what the evil it is without having to attach all of these other things is beyond me.
I just want to be clear, and I want to let people speak. I in no way intended at all to minimize what happened to Charlie. I was horrified by it. I have not been on the five
but
since
the two
then,
sides argument, well, it's like pig Latin to a duck.
No. All that I was saying is could we have all of the information before you just say they did this? Because that is a broad brush to paint with this. And this kid
Let's
does
have
seem...
a conversation.
No.
Charlie had a conversation. He got shot. Look, I'm sorry, Jessica. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You weren't here for a week. You came in here and it's cold. And I'm sorry, but this is a story that is immune to news cycles. It's immune to rationalizations. It's immune to bias. This thing is with us for good. And we all have to deal with that. So that means we can't live by the same arguments that you might be reading about relativism among the media. We can't deal with those stories. It doesn't matter. The media is dead to us on this story. They built this thing up. We're dealing with it. We're going to act. We don't care what the whataboutism is anymore. That shit's dead. Sorry.
Why play it? Matt, it's old. You played it before. Because we can't forget. That's why. Listen, we have a person who's calling from the river to the sea for the Jews, who is now the mayor of New York City. Okay? You have a person who is praying and eating rice with hands and is espousing Muslim bullshit from everything he does. And that's fine. That's fine. You can be a Muslim. But if you have one side of your mouth, you say separation of church and state, and then ultimately embrace it in another, you're a hypocrite. You're a liberal. We should do a Jeff Foxworthy shirt thing. You know, if you say that children matter in school shootings, but you've aborted 69 million children, then you might be a liberal. And we could do this on everything. Gun control. Exactly. You think guns should be confiscated, but you have your own security team. You think illegal borders are racist, but you have a fence around your property. We can do this all day long.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it.
So I will admit that when I was younger, I was not a very fast learner. And they say that you don't learn things until you've done them at least 13 times consecutively. 13 times to establish a pattern, right? And I think a lot of times what happens from the left is, in order to understand that whole concept of learning something 13 times, right? You have to remember history. You have to remember what the results were the last time a policy was implemented. So when we say 13 times, nobody's been around nobody's been alive long enough to really have experienced Stalin, Hitler, Mao, Pol Pot. Nobody's been around long enough to have experienced all of that together, and then to realize 13 times over that left-leaning policies ultimately lead to authoritarianism, that left-leaning policies ultimately lead to people who end up in cages while books are being burned, and we get told, yep, go for the abortions, it's a good thing. And it shouldn't be like that. Looks like the Texas race just closed and showed Ken Paxton in the lead, 62.4% with 495,622, and John Corwin at 37.5%.
They just called it. I told you they would call it at 9:01, didn't I?
Yep.
They just called it.
Did.
Ken Paxton just won. So, like I said, they were waiting for the polls to close. There you go, folks. Ken Paxton is the winner. You heard it here first on the Don't Unfriend Me show. Just remember that. We told you that they were going to close this son of a gun at 9:01, and that's exactly what they did.
That's exactly what they did, man.
Exactly what they did. So go Don't Unfriend. I think that's worth $49. Folks, we are $49 down on our goal, but projected winner is Ken Paxton, Texas primary on the runoff. And that is going to be an interesting race. We'll see how it goes. But Paxton, if he gets this kind of support, we'll see. Fox called it. Yeah, Fox should have called me. We called it, 35 minutes ago? I told you at 46% I was going to call that thing. I called it at 41. So we're good. We're happy. We got it right. That's all that matters. I'm going to end it on this. We've got 49 minutes, and then we are done. I'm going to do this because I know they're going to throttle the show as soon as I play this. So this is about the vaccine and the safety risk and some of the things that they knew. This was a alarming thing. If you have not had a chance to help out the show, please do. We're going to be jumping off here in a few minutes. thedumbshow.com/donate. It would mean the world to get to our goal, and we certainly need to. So a couple of minutes on this, and then we're going to be out of here.
Jackie, this is the most egregious government scandal in my lifetime. On March 1st, Peter Marks, the head of the division within FDA that approves vaccines and then surveils the safety, was briefed that the algorithm they're using to analyze VAERS was going to completely mask and hide safety signals. 26 days later, he was...
Fisher says, how is it projected still if they closed and have the tallies? Because when you close the polls, you still have to hand count the votes. But there's not enough votes out there for them to catch up. Right now, there's only 930,000 votes out there. The guy's got, 275,000 deficit, which would mean that all of a sudden, based upon all the other counties, that those counties would have to stop going 60 to 70% for away from Cornyn and go, away from Paxton and flip and go for Cornyn. It's not going to happen. They have a large enough sample size. It's breaking a certain way. And even if they're 15, 20 points off, he can't make up 35% deficit. The race is over. There's not enough votes out there to flip it. So, folks, I don't know. I have a mind for this. I don't know how to teach it. It is what it is. Here's the rest.
Showing 25 adverse events where there were, safety signals, including sudden cardiac death, pulmonary infarction, Bell's palsy, different types of strokes, and he hid it. They are lying about it to this day. They continued to use the old algorithm. They knew would hide it, and then they went and lied to the American public. So, again, the hundreds of thousands of people that experienced adverse events, the tens of thousands that died on VAERS, reported on VAERS, associated with that vaccine, these people ought to have a cause of action against those government officials that hid what the American people had a right to know. Yeah. But they lied bald-faced to the American public. And unfortunately, I appreciate Fox covering this. Not one major network has picked up the story. This has been 3 weeks now. Like I said, the biggest government scandal in my lifetime. And mum's the word because everybody was complicit in it.
Yeah, nothing's going to happen. You're not going to be able to sue the U.S. government. You're not going to be able to.
Right. You've never been able. So here's the thing. I was one of those guys. I had 19 years in the Navy at that point when COVID hit.
You had to.
And so you're like, well, I'm like a year away from getting a pension for the rest of my life. And they're telling me if I don't take this jab, they're going to boot me. You know what kind of pressure I was under for that?
Yeah.
And I didn't trust it. I didn't care that it was invented under Donald Trump's watch. I didn't care. It was just to me, it was all novel, right? It was all brand new. And so I had some serious trust issues, still do. I ended up getting that shot anyway. And then for the next 3 to 6 months afterward, just going up a flight of stairs, I would get winded. And it took a long time to get over that. We're at 0.
Do you have you had anything else?
No, thank God, not since then. But I did have one of my chief friends, who ended up with blood clots in his legs, and he was in his 30s, in good health. This guy was skinny as shit, and he had blood clots all in his legs after the vaccination.
It scares the shit out of me, man. I'm so glad I didn't do it. And it's not like I'm like, oh, nana, boo-boo, stick your head in doo-doo. I didn't do it. You did. I would have done it if I was in too. I mean, people don't understand. Chief's pension it's freedom, folks. It's a lot, and it puts you in a position where you still get it even if you're working, and it's a lifetime pension. It's huge. Yeah. It's massive. There's no way I would have walked away from it. I just think
literally at that point, I was literally relying on like my health to overcome the shot, so that like I didn't think I was gonna die or anything like that. Thank God. But the adverse effects, I was just hoping that I was in a good enough shape to overcome all of that, and thankfully it worked out. But
yeah, well. Yeah, you're going to be with us a long time. Folks, it's just not going to happen tonight. We're not going to hit goal. That's fine. We're going to move on. Leeroy, you got 1 minute, and I'll take my minute, and then we'll go. But we're not going to hit it tonight. And honestly, I'm not going to stick around. I'm going to go. We're not going to go in overtime. I'm not going to do it to Leeroy. He always does it, and it's not going to happen tonight. So go ahead.
No, you're good. My 1 minute, for my 1 minute, I would just like everyone on social media to, share something of value. We were talking earlier in the show about certain polls and how we have noted that the people that are being polled that are Democrats are telling their own party that they need to move to the left. What that means is that they're going to have to reverse, they're going to have to backtrack on a lot of their prior messaging. They're going to have to become softer in some of the areas that they just got done accusing you of being a Nazi for supporting. Oh, you want closed borders. Well, you're just a fascist. Well, now you're going to hear that coming from within the Democrat Party itself. Do not let them breathe on this. They have to understand that what they were after was insane to begin with. That between the two parties, it's the left wing that is far more authoritarian. Now, something that we had touched on just prior to that, which is what are the messages that are going to be needed to overcome for the midterms? It's going to be the economy. It's going to be things about the Iranian war. So keep your ears, tuned for stuff like that. And please, for the love of God, share everything that you can that is of positive nature for any of the policies that are coming out of this administration, because that's going to be what it's going to take.
Yeah, if you can't explain why you voted for Trump or why you still support Trump, then it's something you should focus on. Because they can't answer that question. They can't answer that question at all. They can't say why they vote for Kamala because they didn't.
Right.
Kamala was installed. Why Joe Biden? They voted for Buttigieg and Sanders. They voted for Sanders in 2016 over Hillary. They have not been able to choose their presidential candidate for 3 elections. And I don't think they're going to be able to do it for a 4th. And Democrats will cheat and steal and do whatever they can. And if you think that they don't, go ask Bernie Sanders. Go ask superdelegates in Hillary Clinton. Go ask the forced resignation of Joe Biden. That was a coup. Whether you're aware of it or not, that was 100% a coup. And it was a threat to a sitting president, and it came down to do it or else. Why do you think he pardoned his son? We know why. We know why. Because they were going to use it as retaliation against him. And all the things Biden did, he towed the Democrat line for 47 years.
And
40
threw him out.
They threw him under the bus in a New York minute and were going to do whatever they could to destroy him. That's the way it works. Yep. Either way, folks, just remember, don't be a panicking. This whole thing, MAGA is dead. MAGA isn't dead. Most people aren't they're not even watching politics. They don't even care right now. I told you, nobody's going to give a shit about politics until October. We are the rare, the few. We are the people who are involved at all times. Go ahead, Leeroy.
Real quick, I want to add something. I want to add something to this too, because if you really think about it, Donald Trump, I'm going to admit this, Donald Trump has been one of the most polarizing presidents that I can ever recall, right? You either love the guy or you completely hate him. And it's obvious for the people that hate him that it's an emotional thing. Get it. Completely understand. What's going to happen after he leaves office? Who's going to be the next person that they're going to say, oh, that person is the new Hitler. That person is the new authoritarian, right? Once Donald Trump leaves, and if we're really keeping an eye on that poll that I was telling you about, if the Democrat Party really is looking to kind of come to the center, I think that the level of political violence, or at least some of the heat that you see a lot in the media, might actually come down. I can see those two items marrying and the heat being brought down in the nation, politically speaking. At least that's what I hope.
I don't think Donald Trump's a polarizing figure. I'm going to say that is the craziest thing I think I've said on this show.
Because you're looking at it from a policy perspective.
Not
a personality one. No,
even personality. Here's why. How many times did you hear "I hate Donald Trump" during The Apprentice?
Never.
How many times did you hear it during celebrities or rap albums? Movies.
They loved him.
Everyone loved him. He wasn't a polarizing figure. He was never a polarizing figure. You're like, he's a womanizer, he's a playboy, he's a billionaire, and you treat him all like all other billionaires that... Donald Thompson donated $8.01. Thank you so much, Donald. I'm sorry it didn't pop up. The widget got weird. But I don't think he is a polarizing figure. I really don't. And I think that he is a Republican candidate and the president of the United States. And he has been targeted by the media machine. What's polarizing about secure our borders? What's polarizing about stopping fentanyl overdoses and opioid addiction? What's polarizing about we want to keep America safe and not have someone have a nuclear weapon? What's polarizing about creating equity, financially, the proper way to use the word equity, across all demographics? How does lowering taxes and having tax breaks, how is that dividing America? How is saying we're going to follow the Constitution and Roe v. Wade is going to go back to the states to decide where it should be? Because it was an overreach. And if you want it to be a constitutional law, you have to codify it. That's the way we do things. What's controversial about that? Nothing. Because if you would have said any of these things in 2015, nobody would have batted an eye. But it's not that he's divisive. It's not that he's polarizing. It's that the left is so far to the left that even common sense is offensive. It's like a person who is a homicidal maniac finds humor and levity to be painful. The homicidal maniacs find humor and levity to be painful. People's enjoyment makes them hurt. After plenty of people, dude. Oh, we just lost it. We're going to call it.
Yeah, no, you came back.
Hold on. Do you want to end the broadcast? Yeah, hold on a second. No, we're just going to call it. Let's get out of here, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
I love you.
I love you,
man.
brother.
All right, man.
We'll
See you soon. Peace.
Yep. Bye.
See you guys.